like to make Brenda laugh with my dancing.
You actually
keep the
can
music
dance.
going, Brian.
Give me a little something, something.
Where are we? They can hear us, but they can't see us.
Director Brian does not want to show us dancing on camera.
I don't even know if can they hear us yet, Brian?
No, he said we're hot. True.
Jam.
He's been on fire.
Jam to the music
Since
now.
about 5 a.m. You had a funny tongue twister today.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
did you hear? Well, let's see. Rod, did you notice the mistake I made, the error in my delivery?
In his breaking news?
When talking about the Supreme Court nominee?
I just heard that you muffed something, but I couldn't tell what it was.
Well, who told you that?
I mean, I hear the show.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, oh boy, Drew's having a moment.
I actually feel like the name Amy Coney Barrett flows pretty nicely. It's not like a difficult name.
Yeah.
Right.
It's an easy name to spit out, but for some reason I was kind of looking at the pictures there, the live pictures of the Senate Judiciary Committee as talking about the story, and without thinking about it, I said Amy Boney Well, I start to say Amy Boney Carrot. I only got so far as Boney. I was like, Amy Boney,
I couldn't tell what
Reset.
you said, but that's funny.
Amy Coney Barrett. And then my excuse, I told Brenda, is that, your brain is trained to go ABC, right? I am a well-trained brain. ABC would be Amy Boney Carrot.
Oh, my
that's
gosh.
Now we have to retrain the brain.
That's
Amy
funny.
Coney Barrett. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about necessarily this morning on Sunrise Extra.
No.
If Nina were here, she would not let us go down some sort of alternative path like we have here in the early going up.
Rails. Every time Nina goes on vacation, we are off the rails.
All three of us like going off the rails.
I do.
It's a place we like to travel to. But we are talking about travel this morning, specifically air travel, because, of course, the holiday season fast approaching. The weeks to come are typically the busiest travel days of the year, especially air travel. And we know it's not going to be the same this year, right? But people have gotten on planes more recently than they were, say, 3-4 months ago. Instagram tells me, literally, that there are 3 people that I consider to be pretty close to me that are in Palm Springs right now. I knew 2 of these people were going. The third, I didn't have any idea. I can't believe they don't know each other. These are like 3 people from opposite ends of my world.
Interesting.
But I know they all got on a plane to get there. I have not been on a plane since March. I know, Brenda, you have not either.
Nope.
Rod has. He went to Missouri to see his folks back a couple of months ago. We're asking people 2 questions. Number 1, if you have flown here in recent weeks, what's the experience like? I'm kind of curious because I'm thinking about flying back home to Philadelphia.
When? For the holidays?
Well, it would be between now and the end of the year, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be November or December, but I'd like to do one of the 2.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you're not flying right now, I mean, I know the basic answer would be to why you're not would be because of COVID. But I mean, I'm asking, like, really specifically, what are your concerns? Why would you not want to be on a plane for, 2-3 hours, whatever the case may be? What are your specific concerns when it comes to air travel? So you can weigh in right now the way we always weigh in on Sunrise Extra. You can join us on the Facebook stream, the YouTube page. I know you're there right now, but add to the comments. Play along with us.
Oh, they are. They are. Let's see. Nancy Kivett says staying home sounds good. And then Marilee says no way are we going anywhere. Katie, good morning to you. Katie Bassett says I won't be flying or traveling at all for the holidays this year.
Okay.
My mom has asked to come visit and I had to tell her no. Oh, how was that conversation? I'm kind of interested in that one, which was incredibly hard, but she has some health issues and so do I. It doesn't feel safe enough for either of us. It is very sad. I totally get that. Yeah, wow.
Renee Robertson, a great commenter here on the stream, she says that she is planning to fly to Oregon for Christmas. I know, Renee, you watch us. I think she watches us from Panama, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right about that, Renee? Aren't you the viewer we have in Panama? So Renee says she hasn't been on an airplane since January, basically all year long. She says she is feeling nervous about this flight to Oregon during the holiday season.
And then Sheila Speck says, hoping to fly to Southern California to celebrate my mom's 100th birthday. That's amazing. Not sure if we go around Christmas or later.
I mean, quite honestly, I know back in June, my sister turned 50 this year. She lives in New Jersey. I did not fly home then, and I really didn't give it much thought. It just seemed like a bad idea back in June to me. For some reason, I'm thinking a flight home to the Philly area next month or December. For whatever reason, my mind has convinced myself that it's not as bad an idea now. And I feel like I am being influenced by other people I know who have gotten on planes and flown to, here, there, and everywhere.
Rod, you have been very quiet. What do you think?
Well, I mean, we flew home to Missouri in June, and we actually, strange twist of fate, we're flying to Palm Springs in a few weeks.
What's up with Palm Springs? I've never been there. Everyone's going there.
I've never been there either, and I heard someone else say they were going, and I'm like, I want to go. But, well, a couple things. We had a story on the news, just a couple days ago, that the airlines, was it in our country alone, they hit 1 million flyers for the first time since COVID?
TSA reporting that in a single day earlier this week, or maybe it was the end of last week, but in a single day, they checked 1 million travelers here in the U.S., and they haven't hit that number since before the pandemic began here in the U.S.
It was a Sunday, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was another story that recently, I don't know if we had it on or if I heard it on the radio, I don't remember, saying that there have been something like 44 reported cases of contact tracing showing people caught the virus while on a plane or in an airport or what have you. Mm-hmm. But that was 44 versus, it was a huge number. It was basically a number so small that you can't even compute it.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're a numbers person, you would look at that and go, well, you're probably okay. I feel like, and I felt this way throughout other events in history, that if you want a clean plane, you're likely never going to have a cleaner plane. We flew Southwest, and I thought, back in June, and I thought at the time Southwest really went out of their way to show that they were doing everything possible to space passengers out, to have a clean aircraft, and overall good experience. You had your mask, like when you go in a restaurant, you had your mask on unless you were nibbling on something or drinking something. And the flight attendants were good about going up and down the aisles. If they noticed you weren't actively eating or drinking something, would you please put your mask on and have it on properly? And I felt like most people, well, in fact, I felt like everybody that I saw was doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
It's a personal preference,
Right.
obviously, like a lot of things are right now.
Dan McFarling says, I wish news programs would talk more about rail travel. Traveling by rail, you can have your own room and your own bathroom. So I'm sure Amtrak will be happy to spread the word on that.
What does he do for work? I wonder if he's in the rail industry.
Pam Cox Olson says, we just flew and they left their KN95 mask on the entire time, no eating or drinking, and felt safe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would obviously go that same route as far as the masks are concerned. I mean, the flight to Philadelphia is a long one, 6 hours. I have a hard time believing I wouldn't, pull it down for a drink at some point during those 6 hours.
Hey, Drew,
Yes.
I'm curious, of the people watching us, are there people that are comfortable that have been going to restaurants but are still not comfortable going on a plane, or are most of the people that are not comfortable flying also still not comfortable to go to a restaurant? Does that make sense?
No, I think what you're saying is you probably have those people in the same company. If you're not comfortable getting on a plane right now, you're probably also not comfortable eating inside of a restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that's the case, but maybe I'm wrong. So share your stories if you've been going to restaurants but aren't yet ready to fly.
Right. If your concerns are airplane specific, weigh in.
Yeah.
Susan Decker.
Yep.
Good morning to you. Says, my son better bring my grandbaby over, but they're just in Tillamook, so they don't have to fly. Yeah, the holidays without the grandbaby would not be the same.
Yeah.
Terry Hogenkamp says, I won't even be driving out of Portland. Thankfully, my family lives here.
Okay. Ashley has given me some food for thought. Another
Tell
place
me.
I've never been. Ashley says, Ashley Kennelly Ullman, we won't be flying anywhere, she says, but they are contemplating going on an RV trip to the Redwoods for Christmas to surprise their kids with all the big trees.
Well, that sounds great.
I've been to literally like all of Northern California, the entire section of the state, Northern California. I've only been there once in my life. I was in like the San Francisco area, like in the mid-90s.
Dan McFarling, Drew, is answering your question. He just says, rail travel is energy efficient, safe, environmentally sound. Drew, I do not work for and never have worked for the rail industry.
All right, fair enough.
Do you guys see Bryce is currently at PDX listening to us, and he's getting on a plane and going to Ohio today.
Do me a favor, Bryce. Turn to the person next to you. Kind of give them a nut. Well, you can't touch them. I'm sorry. That's bad advice. Within, outside of 6 feet of distance, kind of shout to the person closest to you and say, hey, you should check out this program I'm tuning into right now. It's called Sunrise Extra. You can get it on Facebook or YouTube. Start something during your travels. Start a trend.
Oh my gosh. Do you guys see Connie? I love Connie's comment. She says, I haven't ate in a restaurant since February. Luckily, I know how to cook. but I'm sure tired of cooking.
You're right.
That same Connie Staub Miller earlier on the Facebook stream here said that flying this winter is a terrible idea. She specifically said, Drew, flying this winter will be a terrible idea. I'm asking you why. Well, you know
what I'm a little nervous about? You listen to the health experts and they talk about the various waves, and with the weather getting colder and more people being indoors, and then Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas coming up, that we're going to see a spike in COVID cases. So I think that is probably right now the reason that I wouldn't be flying anywhere. I mean, other than I don't have anybody I want to go see, but.
Right. Well, that's harsh. We apologize to all of Brenda's friends who don't live locally.
Most of them are here.
Yeah, your circle is pretty tight to the area, right? I mean, that's where your circle lies.
Absolutely.
Right.
Rod and I have, expanded our love to other parts of the country, and that's it. I mean, for me, it's just honestly starting to feel like, man, I haven't seen my mom in forever, and she is now 72 years old, and she misses her boy. She's only got one boy. She's missing him.
Understandable.
And my sister and I, like I said, for some reason, I'm just kind of convincing myself, slowly but surely, that I'm going to be okay if I get on that plane.
Shane Peterman says, my family is in Hawaii, so that plane ride is at least 5 or 6 hours. There have been reports of Honolulu International being overwhelmed with visitors, and that's what makes me nervous, he says.
Yeah, didn't Honolulu, Hawaii, they just lifted their, if you do a self-COVID test, I don't know what the process is, but they're saying you don't have to quarantine any longer as long as you do a COVID test that comes back negative before you go. Am I saying that correctly? But I don't know exactly what the process is.
And Angela says, I have not had the nerve to fly yet. I'm out among people so often. I keep my exposure limited. Is that right? I'm out among people so often I keep my exposure limited, I guess, in other ways?
I read that same statement. I didn't quite understand what she meant there. You can clarify if you'd like. That's the beauty of the stream. We stay up long enough for you to comment on your own comments.
And then Carrie says, we will not be getting together with family because of COVID, but plan on staying at a resort in Washington. Interesting.
Well, let me know if that's my house. I should know.
Kathy Collins, coming to us from guess where?
Where?
How about Scotland?
Whoa, Scotland. Really?
We have viewers this morning in Panama,
I love that.
in Scotland.
That's amazing.
We've got viewers on at least 3 of the seven continents right now.
Yeah.
We are touching 3 of the world's 7 continents. Look at us go on Sunrise Extra. Anyways, back to the comment. Kathy says she's here in Scotland, and she says, like the rest of Europe, we are in the second wave of COVID right now. She says it's scary, and it feels worse, actually, in her opinion, than the first go-around. Kathy Collins, reporting live from Scotland this morning.
Oh boy, it doesn't have anything to do with travel, but my son doesn't live with us, and so he also works around a vulnerable population where he does get tested for COVID, and thank God they've all come back negative. But we're kind of talking about how we will do Thanksgiving or Christmas. There are 3 people in my household, and then my son who is not, and so it's like, well, do we have him come over socially distant and masked up inside? I think probably the answer is yes, which is totally weird.
Yeah.
But, we have been...
It was weird in 2019, right?
Not so weird in 2020, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So I get a pass?
Yeah.
It's kind of, you just have to logistically figure out what you want to do and how you're going to do it in your own house.
I can't believe I did this. I bought a few fancy masks.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, how about that one? I like it's a full face. It kind of gets a full face covering.
Fancy
mask.
Yeah.
And I can't believe after all these months of mask wearing, and I was just kind of cobbling together masks here and there. We had some of those, temporary masks, kind of like the surgical looking ones, the blue and white ones. I don't know. We had a lot of those in our house that we would use in the car and things like that. I had a couple of cloth masks. I don't even know where I got them, to be quite honest with you.
Here. Are they the white ones?
Some were here. Some were, I did it one time. I was out doing a segment with the IQ Credit Union team, and they gave me a few. Like, here you go, Drew. So anyways, I was collecting all these masks. I had plenty. But then one of our colleagues, Joe Ranieri, did you see that email he sent out? And basically, he sent out a link to the team about where he was purchasing some of these masks. And I'm like, I'm not going to go spend money on masks. And I looked, I was like, oh, wow, it's only $4.99. I bought 4 of these guys.
And you love them?
They fit well. They cover more face. and I can talk with them on without it, like my other masks were slipping off of my large nose.
Yeah.
But this one goes chin, nose, cheeks. I can still talk. You can
You're
still
fully
understand
protected.
me. I can say Amy, Coney, Barrett, and you can all hear me saying the name.
That little white cloth one that they provide us here at KGW, they just
did
put
not
them out
fit
on
so
the
well.
table in the newsroom, right? So people can pick them up.
Yeah.
I wore one of those out to an appointment, and my girlfriend said, "That looks like a diaper." I was like, maybe I need to upgrade a little bit.
You can blow your nose right into it and make it look like a dirty diaper. Those did not fit my face. I don't know if it was my nose that was causing the issue. They were definitely tight and small, and it was actually difficult to talk with those masks on, those diaper masks, and it kept slipping off my nose. Anyways.
You haven't spent, I spent the $20 and got my fancy University of Missouri mask that I
$20 for one mask?
Well, for shipping and everything, because it had to be, by the time you paid the shipping and the whole 9 yards.
He's supporting his alma mater.
This was free shipping, $4.99. I got 4 masks for that same $20, Rod.
Okay, well, here's a worse story. I spent $26 on my Kansas City Chiefs mask, including shipping, and that has yet to arrive. I'm spending a fortune on masks.
Jeez.
Come on, you gotta
That's
pay
not like you, Rod.
Mahomes' salary. Go ahead. Stanford Walker, good morning to you, sir. No traveling, he says, for the holidays. I haven't forgotten COVID. And then Virginia Carlson, my 85-year-old dad tells me I wear my mask and go where I want. I will not hide at home and be afraid. He lived through many of America's hard times, food for thought. But he's wearing his mask, so he's protecting himself. Good for him. Jeff Lucas, happy Friday Eve to you as well.
Yeah. Brandon said, I think it's one of the few people who says, yeah, he's been flying. And his opinion is kind of like mine. You'll never see a cleaner aircraft. I mean, usually I'm one of the people that goes, would it kill you people to clean the aircraft every now and then? But the aircraft are, at least the one I was on, pretty doggone spotless.
Drew, did you read Joshua Madrid? Did somebody pick up his last comment?
I did not, but I can tell you, if you want to read it, Joshua, a little background, he's I want to say he's a bartender in the area because he chimes in pretty often here on Sunrise Extra, but go ahead and read his comment, Brenda.
He says, I'm not a big fan of flying during the best of times, so there's no way I'm jumping on a plane during a pandemic. Had to miss my dear friend's memorial because of this, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Joshua, I'm with you, though. I'm a bit of a nervous Nelly when I get on a plane. I go, pre-pandemic. I don't love it. Yeah. I'm always like, okay, is anybody else looking nervous?
Yeah.
It's that takeoff.
Well, I should probably add, Brendan, if you don't know, I was a flight attendant for 3+
I do
years.
know.
So,
yeah.
If I was still in that job, I'd be flying all the time, right? That'd be my job to be on the plane, yeah.
We've talked about 2 of your past places of employment already this morning. Once during the Sunrise TV show, we talked about your McDonald's days, and now during Sunrise Extra, your flight attendant days.
Yes.
There's really only, I was thinking there's really only one other time in my lifetime, and I would say yours as well, Brenda and Rod, only one other time when collectively as a country we were this nervous about flying. And that was, of course, after
9/11.
9/11. And I remember I flew home for someone's, a buddy of mine's wedding in October of that year. So obviously September 11th was on the 11th of September. And this was about 4 weeks later, early October. And really uncomfortable, that flight.
Yeah, a whole different type of fear.
Yeah,
though, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would have, honestly, I can't imagine being as nervous as I was that day on a flight if I had to take one, say, today. I mean, there would be concerns that we're obviously talking about right now, but not that, I was literally looking at every passenger on that plane.
Absolutely.
And thinking, what's your story?
Oh my God, that was awful. Just everything about that, my God. Jeff Lucas says, I so want to go to Vegas or Hawaii, but think I will wait till January. Fun place to watch the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be in Vegas for either an NFL playoff weekend, like those first couple of weekends when there's games on Saturday and Sunday, those are great, or March Madness, like that first Thursday through Sunday weekend of March Madness. I've never been in Vegas for either of those.
Oh my gosh, Angela says she loves turbulence.
What?
Well, it adds a little something.
And landings when I fly. Yeah. She loves turbulence.
Adds a little something.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
I got to find this one myself. There she is. Angela Barks Draz.
That's great.
She said it in bold letters. She loves
it.
Turbulence.
So rock and roll. Hey, Howard saying, Drew, don't knock Rod. Howard paid $24.95 for an Abbey Road cover mask. Tons of compliments, he says, when he strolls around the area.
You know what, though? An Abbey Road mask, that's class. That's Beatles love, baby. Rod Hill's a Chiefs fan, for goodness sakes.
Come on, don't be a Patrick Mahomes hater.
I'm not hating on Patrick Mahomes. I just can't love the Chiefs as much as I would say love the Abbey Road album.
Although you would think Patrick, with that new fancy contract, would have sent all Kansas City Chiefs fans a mask.
Right?
Yes.
Debbie says, watching from Texas, I have family in PDX and would love to visit, but waiting for now, praying for next year to travel.
Yeah.
Love Portland.
Yeah.
I know we're running out of
to have you.
time. We have 3 minutes or so left, not even, in Sunrise Extra this morning. But since we're talking about travel, and we've already talked about the fact that we have a viewer this morning in Scotland, one in Panama, obviously many here in these United States of America. We've covered 3 continents we know for sure this morning. If you're watching from one of the other 4 continents, please chime in quickly and let us know from where you are watching. Perhaps we have someone watching in Africa this morning. Perhaps we have someone watching in an Asian country this morning.
I feel like you're going into telethon mode.
I'm very curious about how far our reach is on this show, Brenda. I'm not asking for your money.
Right.
I'm just asking for your place of
If you want to
being.
send a little, though, we'll take it.
No, that's Rod's ask for his mask wearing and his mask buying.
Oh my gosh. You see Angela's comment more about the flight?
What'd she
Her
say?
11-year-old daughter raises her arms and goes, woo!
What
And
the-
they have
It's like a roller
turbulence.
coaster.
I don't want you sitting next to me now, Angela. I'm sorry. I thought we could sit next to each other on the plane. I thought we'd have a nice conversation. But if you and your daughter are going to be hooting and hollering when we hit turbulence, we're going to have a problem.
That is not a fun feeling. My guy does not like the turbulence. And I am the nervous one, but when we hit turbulence, I look over at him and he looks a little ashen. And I'm like, just think of it like, bumps in the road if we're in a truck driving down the highway. And he looks at me like, are you crazy, girl? No, this is not like bumps on a highway.
I try to handle them coolly and calmly, but every once in a while I'm like, wait a minute, this is more turbulence than we should be experiencing, I think. This feels like more than turbulence.
I like the when the pilot gets on and kind of explains it, gives us a little heads up.
Hold on, it's getting bumpy. When they say that, Brenda, that's
It's
it?
like we're going to be flying into some rough weather, don't worry.
Okay.
Well, what I don't like is when I hear the co-pilot in the background saying, holy crap!
I didn't see that coming. No, yeah, okay.
Hey, look at this wise guy. Or perhaps he's being honest. Carlos Baca chimes in this morning saying, coming to you from Mars.
Really?
We've reached other planets.
That's more impressive than Scotland.
A little bit. A little bit.
I think we've talked ourselves out, people.
All right.
Drew?
I'm just getting going.
Yeah.
Join us for Sunrise Extra Extra. It starts in 2.5 minutes.
It's just Drew.
You can always see it on the dark net. I don't even know how to get to the dark net.
Oh, boy. I don't
That's
either.
a whole other Sunrise Extra.
All right.